round 6 of the F1 2019 season is the British Grand Prix, and there has been two massive changes. As we knew from the last episode, Tom was sacked from Ferrari for reasons that Ferrari we're not sure quite as of yet, but he has found a lifeline. He has managed to secure himself a quick short-term deal with Mercedes-Benz before he left Ferrari. So it appears that at some point, when Sebastian Vettel opened out and said about the warning of Tom about Ferrari, it appears that he may have done that earlier than what was said in the previous news post last week. So Tom actually had a conversation with Toto Wolff and decided, well, might as well just, make a deal now in case something goes horribly wrong. And they did. So that's how it happened on that front. And that obviously has left Daniel Ricciardo to go ahead and join Ferrari on what we believe it is a 2-year deal. And obviously this has still confused the paddock because, well, why would Ricciardo join Ferrari when he recently, at the end of last season, signed a new 2-year contract with the Silver Arrows? Still isn't quite making sense so far. And finally, Jaguar have denied that they're interested in getting rid of Pierre Gasly and have stated that they are very much behind Gasly and he will not be going anywhere. However, Williams are getting seriously frustrated with the lack of performance from Antonio Giovinazzi and are looking to potentially get rid of him in this mid-season transfer window. In terms of the major breaking news heading into this British Grand Prix, sources believe that Ferrari signed Tom as a number 2 driver at the end of last season. In this contract, it was claimed that Tom was to not race Max Verstappen at all and that he was to stay as the number 2 driver and basically let Verstappen win the championship. That is what some sources believe, and as Tom was leading the World Championship, Ferrari just couldn't really find a way to get rid of Tom because he wasn't really listening to that. He was going ahead and trying to win the races, and as soon as he crashed, that was their opportunity to strike. Vettel already spoke to Tom at the start of the season about Ferrari's plans, we now can officially confirm. It was the start of the season when Tom was about to join Ferrari that Vettel spoke out to him and warned him that this may not go the way you think, and this is what happened to me. You might want to go and get a backup plan, and that's what Tom did. Ferrari have also immediately stated that there are no number 1 statuses within their team and that Tom had a falling out with the management system, and obviously his recent crash put pay to all of that as well. Daniel Ricciardo's motivation though is looking even worse now that he's at Ferrari. Last week we saw that Daniel Ricciardo was sort of misbehaving just in general, and now that he joined Ferrari after spotted wearing a Ferrari cap, surely that would have made things okay. You would have thought so, but it hasn't. He looks even worse than ever now that he's at Ferrari, and it now begs the question, did Ricciardo actually want to go to Ferrari in the first place, or is there something else that's just not being told yet? We'll have to wait and find out a little bit more about that, but something tells me that Ricciardo doesn't want to be there, and something has forced him there and forced Tom out. Into the news then, heading into this Formula 1 British Grand Prix weekend, and Ferrari have made big upgrades for the British Grand Prix as they look to try and continue to cement themselves as the championship contenders and take both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Tom is still trying to get to grips with his brand new Mercedes car. He's stating that it's a lot different to the Ferrari, and he says that the Ferrari is just so superior this season. Now moving to Mercedes, he can see exactly where things are going wrong. So is this potentially the start of a new system for Mercedes to get them at the top? Finally, Red Bull have also brought some upgrades to the British Grand Prix in order to catch Mercedes in the title race. It's looking very, very close as we head into the British Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys, it is FoxHudo98 here and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we are back with the F1 journey for the 6th round here, which is the British Grand Prix. And as you can see, we are in a brand new team for the rest of the season. Of course, as you would have known, we were sacked from Ferrari. I won't say much about Ferrari because they've made me upset. But we are now at Mercedes-Benz, obviously after agreeing a contract deal with Toto Wolff. And obviously, as we know as far, my deal with Mercedes-Benz is only for the rest of the season, so I don't actually have a secure seat for next season, so unfortunately the contract stuff is going to have to run through. But anyway, heading into qualifying then for the British Grand Prix, and I really wasn't happy with the car in this, just in general, here at this Grand Prix circuit, and just driving this car just sort of reminded me of how superior the Ferrari is today. in this for this year even, in that fact. And as we can see, coming through Stoke Corner now, we're a good 8/10 up, I think that is, on our previous lap, but still all just miles off the pace. And you can see we're currently in stone dead last as we come towards the start finish line now, and we cross the finish line, and luckily, obviously we're not going to start last, but we are going to start down in a very lonely P14, and that was just really just due to the overall balance of the car. I think I made the car a little bit too oversteery, and yeah, but as you can see, this is quite a shocking approach here. Daniel Ricciardo has taken pole position on his debut for Ferrari. Now, of course, with all the speculations going about that the reason that I was left from Ferrari was because I was not allowed to race Verstappen, interesting to see that Ricciardo's on pole. And as we can see, heading into the Grand Prix, it's actually going to be a full wet race. So this is going to be quite interesting. Intermediate conditions, actually, my bad, as we go towards 5 red lights here for the British Grand Prix. And it's lights out. We go here to start the British Grand Prix. It's a good start from Daniel Ricciardo there in the background. I'm not sure how Verstappen got on, but we're going to keep aboard with ourselves as we come towards turn 1 here. We're going to go towards the outside line. Avoid all the chaos that happens on the inside line normally, because sometimes it does happen, but other times it does not, as we're just going to make a nice late lunge here down the inside of a bunch of cars there now side by side with, I believe that's Lando Norris, or it might have been Stoffel Vandoorne there. Now we're going down the inside of one of the Jaguars here, and also one of the Audis. I think that's Vettel there, and we just managed to get past him as well as we continue on our way now down the straight here, and already up into 7th place. So that's 7 places gained in a couple of corners, all because everyone bunches up in the inside line into all the corners, giving me all the freedom to brake much later into the corners and take the inside line. Very simple tactic, works every single time, unless you're an numpty and you brake too late and you smash into somebody. But up into 7th now, and next up is Fernando Alonso with Ricciardo already building a big gap in front of him. Moving on further down the straight now here onto lap 2 of the Grand Prix, and we're looking to be very close to Fernando Alonso, and I just need to see if I can find a way past him. And as you can see, as we come in towards Brooklands now and in towards Luffield here, you can see that we're getting very close to the rear of Fernando Alonso's car, and we might just be able to get a run here. Back end slides out just a little bit there on the exit. We get a fantastic run here out of the exit at Luffield, and now as we make our way through towards Copse Corner here, we're going to put the car into rich fuel mixture and try and find a way past Fernando Alonso in towards Copse Corner. We make the move, stick on Alonso, but he holds it around the outside, so we're going to have to continue this fight now towards Maggots and Beckett. So this is going to be very close between the pair of us as we come in towards Maggots and Beckett now. We just about hold on there on Fernando Alonso as we come through Beckett's now, which is, by the way, for the British Grand Prix that I'm going to this year, is where I'm going to be sitting at Beckett's. Can't wait for it. But anyways, we can continue on now and getting back on topic here. You can see that we're now onto the back of Lewis Hamilton here onto lap 3 of the Grand Prix, and we're making very steady gains at the moment with the 2 Ferraris. You can see them already on the old pit straight now. They are flying away in this opening phases of this Grand Prix, and as you can see, once again, getting a fabulous exit out of this corner, and I seem to be getting that a lot here as we come in towards Copse Corner now. Having a little look at Lewis Hamilton here, in towards Copse we go now, but we just turned it a little bit too early there, lose the rear end of the car, and we just about hold it on there. So very, very risky stuff there against Lewis Hamilton, but we're going to have to sit back, wait a little bit longer, and find the correct place to overtake Lewis Hamilton before we try and make any more mistakes here in this Grand Prix. But you can see now here the back end slides a little bit now as we come out of the exit of Beckett's there and Chapel now onto the straight here. We've got Fernando Alonso still behind us, so actually we're not really pulling away from Alonso either. So really, I feel like needing to get past Hamilton is an ASAP thing now, and my vocabulary is terrible. But anyways, we come towards the Vale chicane. Hamilton goes a little bit defensive, and I know he's going to pull back into the racing line, and that is going to compromise his braking slightly, and I knew that it was going to be a fair dive down the inside, and in fact Fernando Alonso fancied a little bit of that as well, and he managed to make his way through there on on my teammate there. And now as we come on board here onto lap 7, I believe this is now, of the British Grand Prix, you can see we're catching up to Sergio Perez, and you can see now, look, Fernando Alonso is literally just following me at this stage. He is stuck to me like glue, and it is literally me and him scything our way through the field now as we get onto the back of Sergio Perez here in the Williams Porsche, who's doing a great job. Of course, there's been speculations that Giovinazzi could be out of Williams soon, and as you can see now, flying on the straight here. This time we were going to go for it again in towards Copse Corner. Seems to be on my favourite spot at the moment to try and get some moves done here, and again, similar to Alonso, Perez holds it off, but in towards Maggots and Beckett, I'm just going to go right round the outside here, in towards Beckett there. Lovely overtake there from myself, and we're up into P4 now in this Grand Prix, and as you can see, Fernando Alonso will now have to try and find his way past there, but you can already see Carlos Sainz is 6 seconds clear. And as we come on to lap 13 of the Grand Prix now, we are going to be coming in for our one and only pit stop of the Grand Prix to go off of our intermediate tyres and to go on to another set of intermediates. I should have started this earlier on, but we are on the intermediate tyres for the entirety of the Grand Prix. We are not going to be having any transitional weather into full wet or into dry conditions or anything like that. But if we did, then that would kind of be beneficial, because one of the Ferraris potentially up front, depending on who's in P2 at the moment, would obviously get compromised, and that could potentially allow us to close that gap back down. But I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the Ferraris today. But as you can see, coming out of the pits, I believe that Sainz in front of us. It might be one of the Toro Rossos, maybe. I'm not actually 100% sure. But as we come out of the pit, you can see how long this just takes. This just takes way too long just to do anything. And as you can see, finally now, we are out of the pits here. And we're just going to rejoin behind Nico Rosberg in the Audi. And you can see that he's there. He hasn't made his stop yet. Giovinazzi also not made his stop. And he is in P9 just behind us. And we're going to continue to run on boards here for myself, as we're now going to look to hunt down Nico Rosberg. And you can see here, overall though, in this stint, or in this race really, I just didn't have the pace in the first sector. I feel like I was losing a good half second, sometimes up to a second, in the first sector every single lap. I don't know what it was. I couldn't really find what I was doing wrong. There was only the one corner that was really annoying me, is just the little double left-hander before you go on to the first straight. I can never get the Wellington and Hangar straight right. I believe it's the Wellington straight in the first sector. And every time I was going through that double left-hander, I just didn't have any confidence in the car. The back end was all over the shop. And that's the only place I can really see myself losing all the time here. But in this middle sector, you can see that I'm absolutely flying here. And we're now all over the back of Rosberg here. And we're looking to try and make our way up into 7th place as to be in the British Grand Prix, with Sainz, I believe, just in front of us. Then you can see here in towards Stoke Corner now, revving out the car here. And as you can see, Hamilton makes a pit stop there. And that was actually quite fortunate, because Rosberg, as you saw there, just locked up slightly and basically just gave me the position. So thanks for that, Nico. And I will see you again later. And unfortunately, that was actually kind of it. Yeah, you will see it very, very soon. But there'll be a few more little highlights to go through there as we come through the last corner. And again, getting a little bit rowdy. But unfortunately, for the rest of the race, really, on to lap 17 now here, we've got a gap over Alonso. It was sort of, I was just in no man's land. I was not fast enough to catch Carlos Sainz or the two Ferraris. And I was matching pace with Alonso. So really, I was kind of in a race where I couldn't really gain anything. I wasn't really losing much. I know Fernando was still closing the gap down, but you can see here going super wide and setting a controversial fastest lap, should we say, going completely off the track there, but it is what it is. And as you can see here, onto the final lap, Ricciardo won the Grand Prix, and again, I just couldn't catch the top 3 today, and Alonso eventually, as my tyres started to wear off, closed the gap down, as I just kept losing that much more time in the first sector, where I was losing everything. And again, track limits, but again, just go watch the US Grand Prix from last year, because, you know, that's what we roll around here. But coming through the final corner now here, the Vale Chicane, to be honest, starting P14 here today and managing to pick up P4, I'm actually really satisfied with that. Coming across the line now, really good result that is. And I'm really happy that we managed to get a good result here at the British Grand Prix. Of course, in terms of my championship battle, it's taken a big dent. But we're literally on the back foot now in this championship for the rest of the season, with that Ferrari just being so superior. And you can see that, crucially again, unfortunately Hamilton obviously had a problem as well, and both BMWs retired. Ricciardo won the race, so I wonder how Ferrari will take that. Let's go check the standings. Alright then, so having a look at the Drivers' Championship then, after the British Grand Prix, you can see that Max Verstappen leads the Formula 1 World Championship with 106 points for Ferrari, with myself in the Mercedes now a further 11 points back now from Verstappen. Of course, Max only picked up P2 today, and I wonder what Ferrari will be thinking after Ricciardo got pole position and won. There might just be something wrong there. Daniel Ricciardo, though, picking up his first win of the season, is now on 84 points and has actually put himself in the championship hunt now with that victory. Lewis Hamilton, with no points today, on 64 points, kind of just drifted away from the championship. But we've still got plenty of rounds to go, so anything can happen. Sebastian Vettel is on 53 points for Audi, ahead of the two Red Bulls, who are tied on points with 47 points each. Lando Norris failed to score on 29 points, same with Brendan Hartley. Perez got a fabulous result today for Williams Porsche, their best result of the season so far, leapfrogs Pascal Wehrlein, who's on 14 points, and Stoffel Vandoorne, who is also there on 14 points as well. Pierre Gasly is managed to get his first points of the season, so after all the bad luck that Gasly has had this season, finally he gets some points, which definitely he does deserve. He's been quick this season. Esteban Ocon on 5 points, picked up a point today. Rosberg and Leclerc all with their points as well. Kubica, Bottas, Hulkenberg and Giovinazzi still yet to score points. Moving on then into the Constructors' Championship after this British Grand Prix. Ferrari are now way ahead of the field. They're on 214 points, ahead of Mercedes-Benz, who are on 135 points. Aston Martin Red Bull Racing are next with 94 points, with a very strong result today, and they definitely close that gap to Mercedes, but it's about, can anyone really catch Ferrari? Are they beatable anymore? And Audi are on 57 points, with McLaren on 43 points now. Jaguar there with 28 points, and Force India are now in a close fight with Williams. Porsche, of course, Williams got their best result of the season thanks to Sergio Perez, and that's put Williams right in the hunt now to attack Force India. And we believe that Williams Porsche are set to make some upgrades later on in the season. Can Force India match that? BMW Sauber with that 1 point, still crucially ahead of Renault on 0 points. But guys, that is going to be it for this episode of the F1 Journey. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, feel free to drop it a like. Subscribe if you're new around here to the channel as well, if you enjoyed the content you do see here. And I'll see you guys next week, where we get some more information and we delve deeper into the system of Ferrari. Take care all guys. Peace.